Welcome back to the first animation analysis of 2025 and the newest one with the newest format of how I'm going to be handling these. Some who are more used to my standard video style are probably going to be thrown off a little bit by how I do this, but if you don't like it, please let me know in the comments afterwards so I can correct that and maybe go back to the other format. But I wanted to try something new to be a little bit more direct with my analysis stuff and a little bit more informative. So if you have any concerns about how this format works, looks, or feels, please say so. But today we have the Arknights Blossom music video from the 5th anniversary. And while this one is short, I think that will actually do me quite a favor in this context so I can look through it, give my absolute best analysis of the animation stuff in it, and allow you guys to give me feedback on if I should continue this format for longer form animations or if I should go back to my old one, but I'll leave that all up to you. First, I have to do my reaction to it, so without further ado, let's get to that, shall we? Let's go. Ooh. Okay, we're CGing, okay. Love that visual. Smooth transitions.
I was born on a lone starless night, searching for the breath of delight.
The song is gorgeous already.
I imagine if I could be a butterfly of fate.
I loved seeing all these locations again. That's really cool. Makes sense given the whole anniversary thing. Oh man. I saw an impact frame. Oh, there's some cool stuff to talk about. There's definitely, I was just in awe for some of that. Oh yeah. Oh, this is going to be perfect for like a little concise sort of animation analysis, but now I guess you guys get to see what I'm planning for the format here going forward. All right, so first things first, I want to talk about kind of some bad stuff that I noticed in here. None of it's too bad. There's just a few nitpicks I'll have throughout this video, but the first one is that there is a grainy quality to this video. I assume that's because of the rip from the live event that I assume this was a part of, but like, come on, guys, you're the official channel. Please just take the official upload. If you don't have it, I'm sure you have a contact to somebody who does. A lot higher bit rate, something with just more general detail, because a lot of the compression in here isn't just YouTube's upload. It's definitely from the fact that they re-uploaded it from what seems to be a direct cut out of a live feed. And that just kind of is a bummer, especially as somebody like me who's going to be looking through this to find very fine details, and I can't do that so well. So while it may just be me mostly, I still want to prod Arknights for not doing that. I mean, like, come on, Yostar, I love you, but like, step it up, you know? But that's just one aspect. There's also plenty of other really cool things to talk about. One of those things is actually the detail in this water here. I love seeing the inner thoughts of people projected like this. It's really cool in every project I see it in. It's just a nice way to get those inner thoughts out in a way that the viewer can see it, and it makes total sense, even though some people, if you're not used to that, might be a little confused at first. It's still a really cool way to show that sort of thing. And there's one detail I wish wish they did add here, and that is a displacement in the water with the reflections in it. There's no displacement here. So like, I wish they included that to make it feel a little bit more involved, where like the world is interacting with the thought. There is kind of a hit or miss with that. Like, you don't necessarily have to have that, especially because it is in the mind, but it definitely feels overall better visually. And I personally believe that if I were imagining something in the water like this, that I would include that sort of displacement in my head, just because the mind is expecting there to be a displacement there. So the fact that it's not there feels just less involved, and especially considering a point near the end of this video, you'll see why I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't include that. But it's just one of those small details that I thought was kind of a bummer that they didn't include. For this shot here, great sea foam on the water. I like this like painterly texture it kind of has to it. It's a little different in overall style. I was kind of surprised that it looked so different, but also it's kind of hard to not compare it to the Stultifera Novice PV I reacted to forever ago, and that was like peak water. Personally, I thought that was amazing water effects, and I think they handled that gorgeously. And I'm sure this isn't the same team even, and definitely not the same time amount that the other team had to do that, so it's a completely different approach to how to handle this, and this one was definitely a little bit safer. There was some spots where, like, as she's laying on the rock, for example, and you see the water trickling off, it looked kind of like flaky. It looked almost pixelated, and that wasn't because of the compression like I've mentioned before. That's actually just due to the way that the water was rendered. The overall volume rendering in this was not high quality. It was pretty low quality, so it kind of has this effect of the whole liquid simulation there just looking not as crisp and as full as it really should, especially for something like seawater, which is usually more like molecularly dense, but that gets into physics, and I know I'm not going to be preaching about that too much, but there's definitely little things about this that I wish I had seen, and one of those was I wish the water was a little bit thicker in general. But I do love this time-lapse effect. It was achieved by what seems to be taking 2D assets, like stock drawings of the characters that they already had around. There might be some custom assets in there, but like all they did was add a directional zoom filter to all of them and dropped their color gain or like their luminance value, which would kind of have a similar effect. And overall, that's pretty creative. The 2D separates their importance and presence on screen as well, and the overall effect of this one just looks really cool. I just like the implementation here. It's something I've seen done before, but I like all the effects were just kind of thrown in there, and that they weren't trying too hard to do something that they didn't need to do. This did exactly what it needed to do and show that time-lapse effect. You shouldn't have to put that much effort into these things, especially since each frame of each character is only on screen for like maybe 2 or 3 frames at max for most of them, so that's not something that anyone should like really overly concern about, and they did a great job at implementing this really cool effect here. Now, this water ball effect I loved a lot. I've talked about this before, but the creativity of blending 2D and 3D shines here again, especially as the water runs through the blade and sword. You can kind of actually see it moving at a different frame rate here to adjust for that timing, and as she goes into that swing, the 2D assets stay there, some more ones come in. It's just really cool to fill out that space, and even at that slow-mo spot, I think that there are the 2D assets there, though I think the asset surrounding her body is a 2D textured 3D object. But this is actually a good case for that first thing I mentioned, where they didn't upload the full quality, because the compression kills the ability to see certain details like that. And while it could be a very well done 2D thing, the way it's moving makes me feel like it's 3D. The fact that it just kind of stays in that circle, that semicircle feel, and it doesn't really move in any other direction, feels very CG. But I can't know, I won't know, and I don't think I ever will, because I don't think they ever expect people to be analyzing like this and want to see stuff at that high quality. But personally, it's like, why aren't you guys uploading at a higher quality? You have the original, I know you do, you own it. So again, it's like, Yostar, please, I know you own it, I know you have it, just upload it, I beg you. Okay, and here we are at the impact frame, let's go. For those who are new to these videos, I always include a focus on impact frames where I can. This one's definitely no different, mostly, but that's just because there's a fun surprise detail in this one that I think is fun. Some of you might not, but I think is really cool. First of all, though, the contouring on the first few frames of this is immaculate, even for that compression I've mentioned a few times. While you can clearly see her hand here, you can also see that her thumb is acting as a brow contour for the face. It's kind of working in tandem with that shadow in her hair that kind of looks like the T-zone on the face, which is like the most recognizable section of the face. And this is cool just because it keeps your attention locked into her expression. Subconsciously, it holds it for a few more frames so you don't forget where that shot ended and what expression was on screen. I've seen a few projects do this in the past, and it's just really neat to see them implement it this way. I don't know if this was intentional, but it is really neat. But that wasn't even the cool part. That's this set of frames right here. These might not look like much at all, but there's actually an artifact in the second one where you can see that the artist or the editor had to resize the impact and cropped it in a weird way, with this tip being broken on this side and this weird artifact at the top, which might actually be a time code or a note of some sort. It's hard to tell, but it's either a glitch from resizing or an improperly removed editor note. And those details are pretty uncommon these days, but always fun to notice. Also, a quick shout out to the following frame, which is an impact of the flames that are coming in, which is a really smooth way to preview the next shot to the viewer. That's really neat. Most of the time, details like that are just kind of skipped for time, and it cuts to a new shot right off the bat without any of that extra lead in. And I think it's really nice that they added that in here. And the last noteworthy detail for this project has got to be a subtle but very important one directorially. Adding this slight breeze of Amiya walking past this lily flower, it's a beautiful addition that, while seemingly unimportant, it grounds her to the last moment of this video and us as well. It's directorial choices like this that make a big difference in how audiences process the conclusion of a film or a video like this, anything narrative or especially reflective like this. If that breeze wasn't there, the world would feel less lived in, and even though we just clearly saw that wasn't the case, you would walk away feeling like you were less involved had they not included that. That might sound a little bit crazy conspiracy theory, but I promise you that is one of those super minor details that subconsciously you never notice, but definitely has effect on you as a viewer. And yeah, that's basically about it. Let me know if this format felt weird and you don't want to see me do that again, or if you liked it, let me know down below. And of course, I will adjust as I said. As I moved forward, I was hoping to be able to give some more details and actually spend the time breaking stuff down and doing a more in-depth breakdown of how these animation techniques are achieved compared to what I did before, which was usually just kind of run and gun, would mention what I thought I could. And I didn't spend nearly as much time actually like figuring out word for word what I wanted to say. So this might have felt a little bit scripted, but it's really not. It's just me sharing my overall thoughts and just speaking them into a microphone rather than saying them at a camera. And that way you guys can get the whole visual on screen as well without me bothering you in the top corner. But those are just my opinions on stuff. If you missed that, I can definitely bring that back. But like I said, let me know. And of course, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more of these in the future, I'll be hitting different game franchises and such over time. I'll be doing one of these a month or so, if not a little bit more, on a regular basis. So if you enjoyed this, you want to follow me and support me for more in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!